If you've ever heard the phrase, come on vacation, leave on probation, you may have been to Panama City Beach, Florida. We just spent a week there, and in this video, I'm going to tell you what you need to know in terms of how to not spoil or ruin your vacation, and also some things that you just may not have thought of when it comes to booking a condo, when it comes to having a beach day, a rainy day, and just different things that you can do in PCB that you may not be aware of. One of the biggest don'ts is don't come to PCB in March if you want to drink on the beach. There is no alcohol allowed on the beach during the month of March. Even if you're 21, you will get in trouble for it. They are policing it. They have so many issues with spring breakers acting crazy that they had to do this to cut back on people just having absolute ragers on the beach. So don't think that you can come in March and drink. We did come at the end of March. We came March 30th and stayed through April 6th, and the weather was still pretty cool. I would say that a lot of days we wanted a jacket, and the swimming was not something that I was willing to do. I did see a few people out there, but don't come in the colder months if you're planning on swimming, because it is just too cold for that. We actually had a snorkel tour booked for Shell Island, and we wound up not really snorkeling. I think I put my head down one time and I was like, nope, I'm not doing this. It's way too cold for that. So the area of PCB is really small, which is why you get all of the traffic congestion. There's really a two-lane road on the main strip, and so you have people pulling out of their condos, people pulling out of restaurants and stores, people on bikes, golf carts. I mean, it was absolute mayhem the week that we came down there. I think that we had just caught the tail end of some people's spring break, and so I definitely didn't anticipate that level of traffic, which is why I'm glad that we went ahead and prepared most of what we wanted to bring from home. We usually stop about an hour before we get to the beach and go get whatever groceries we need or just snacks and gas, because everything gets more expensive the closer you get to that beautiful ocean view. The next thing you don't want to do is don't ignore the flag system. So if there is a double red flag, that means that you do not need to be in the water. They will give you a ticket for this. I saw some people post that they got a ticket their first time coming to PCB because they were letting like their children and stuff swim during the double red flag and they just weren't aware of it. So it's always important to kind of research a little bit when you go, watch, types of videos like this that just, I know that you don't need to over research everything, but some things can make or break a trip. And being misinformed on something like that could have led to something a lot more dangerous happening. A lot of people come to the beach and drowned, unfortunately, because they just aren't aware of the level of currents. They think that they're a good swimmer in the swimming pool, so they don't really realize how the currents can sweep you out and you cannot get back in once you get caught in that. So don't ignore the flag. And if you don't know, the purple flag actually means jellyfish. So just be aware of that. You might want to look into the flag system before you come down to the Gulf Coast, but that's something that I definitely would pay attention to. One thing that I suggest you don't skip is St. Andrews State Park. This was not on my radar before. I usually, whenever I go to a place, I'll just Google like local state parks and beaches and things like that, nature preserves, walking trails, and I try to always do some type of trail related activity while on my trips just to make sure that I'm getting out and walking and seeing like the nature and the ecosystem around me. But this place was amazing. They have just beautiful views. Very few people were on the beach when we were there. There were some people that were in the lagoon area. They've got rock jetties where you can actually snorkel when the weather's warm enough. They've got plenty of walking that you can do around, and so we actually wound up walking like 3 miles that day when we were walking around the beach and stuff. So it was really fun. It's a good place to get out. It costs like $8 per car. So if you're a family of 4, you may have realized that it's expensive to do literally anything while you're on vacation. Just going out to eat or going to a souvenir store can easily cost you $100. So finding an activity for only $8 and it's good for all day is just something great. They also have a pier that you can walk on, and you can also fish off of it, I believe, for about $7 and a Florida fishing license. So another thing that you don't want to skip, I mentioned the pier at St. Andrews, but there's also some other piers in PCB. There's Pier Park, which is a really popular area that has a walking pier, and it also has a lot of shopping around it. We did go to Pier Park. I will say that the pier was like $4 to walk down. You see a lot of different people fishing. We actually saw a sea turtle, which was really cool. I wanted to see sharks. We didn't wind up seeing any sharks, but we saw several different fishermen reel in fish, so it was definitely worth it to walk down that bridge. Pier Park to me was just a lot of souvenir shops, ice cream shops, overpriced beach stuff that I personally wouldn't be interested in, but if you want to walk around and do something like that, it was pretty fun. And if you went a little bit further out from the main congested areas, you got stores like Marshall's and Dollar Tree where you could easily go in there and grab something if you needed it. We were definitely the queen and king of forgetting what we need on the trip. I actually just started my period the first day of our vacation, so that was fun. In order to walk to the store and have to buy tampons, even though I have so many at home, I didn't bring any of them. So don't forget what you need, but don't panic if you don't bring everything you need, because it's easy to buy stuff in PCB. There's like stores on every single corner. It is still the land of the Dollar General in the South. Don't skip on the helicopter ride. We had such a good time doing this. I would definitely splurge for it again. We took a 10-minute helicopter ride. The company was Panhandle Helicopters, and it was wonderful. I mean, it was so fun going over the beach and flying over. We actually got to fly over the condo that we were staying in, and you know, it was something that Daniel had wanted to do, so we did that for his birthday, and he really enjoyed it. And I mean, we could have spent money on stuff, but ultimately, like, that experience is so much more, you know, enriching than just buying, you know, stuff. So we really prefer to have experiences, so don't skip out on those types of things. I mean, if you're going to go to the beach, plan something interesting to do other than just going to sit on the beach. There's all kinds of different tours you can do. I believe there's some places that you can do skydiving. That's one thing that we did on our last trip. I didn't do it, but Daniel did it. I'm not that brave. You can rent jet skis, you can take a fishing tour and like get a boat for the day. There's all kinds of different things that you can book, like a dolphin cruise. So definitely look into it and try to book beforehand. Some of them will definitely book up during the summer months when people are out of school and kids are at the beach. So just be aware of that. Whatever you can book in advance, I would definitely recommend doing that. But one thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to plan during a rainy day. I know the weather is unpredictable, but I definitely would take a look at the forecast before you plan the different outings. I definitely made sure that it was a clear and sunny day when we booked our helicopter tour, because I was like, I'm not paying $160 for 10 minutes of clouds. So definitely want to make sure that you don't ignore the weather during your trip to PCB. Don't forget to bring your snorkel gear if that is something that you like doing. I personally have a full face snorkel mask that I brought with me. It was too cold to use, but I did have it. So I felt proud, because a lot of the times that I've wanted to snorkel, I'm like, I left my mask at home. So there are a lot of free snorkeling spots in PCB, and there are a lot of cheap charter tours that you can take. I think we took a tour to Shell Island for the day for about $50. So there's a lot of opportunities that you can have to snorkel for very cheap and sometimes free. So don't forget to bring a snorkel mask if that's something that you're interested in. Okay, don't be surprised that it's not super family friendly. We had been told that PCB was the party beach, and I will say that I think it kind of lived up to its name, although to me it seemed like wasn't really a college party, it was like teenagers, and so it felt very I don't know, it was very strange. I felt really old. There was a lot of like loud music, people blaring their speakers going up and down the roads, kids yelling at each other, cussing, a lot of vulgar stuff going on. So if you're like wanting to take little Johnny to the beach, I don't think that PCB is probably a great place for that. I did see people with their whole families, but it just felt like I wouldn't personally want to bring my family there if I have a family. It just was a little bit rough around the edges. The way that people were speaking and acting, I don't think that it would necessarily be considered like a family-friendly type of place. At one point in our condo, we like heard cussing and screaming, and it literally like everything echoes because you're in these tall condos and all the talking on the street comes up. And so we heard these kids like cussing each other out and trying to fight each other, and I'm just sitting there trying to go to sleep. It's like 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, well, they just move on down the road a little bit. You know, they're calling each other out and calling each other names. So, I mean, it was really just kind of a strange atmosphere to be in. I think I've gotten most of the partying out of my system from college, and I'm just not in that phase of my life, so it's hard for me to relate to that. And seeing a lot of drinking and stuff going on, I can definitely understand why they have to police the area as much as they do. Now, with that being said, we did go to a really fun karaoke bar, and I have no problem with drinking and stuff, but it seems like when underage kids start drinking, accidents happen, and they want to get into fights, they want to do dangerous stuff and cause chaos and commotion. So I definitely see at this age, I'm almost 30, why the drinking age is 21 and not like 18 or 16, because they just cannot handle their alcohol. But we had a really fun time doing karaoke. We went to a little local spot and it was super fun. The place closed at 10, if that gives you any indication of, it was definitely for the older crowd of people, but we felt pretty comfortable there. Really enjoyed that, and I would say don't skip out on trying new food. We tried a really good Thai place while we were there. It was called Sue's Thai Cafe, and we also tried a really good Indian place. The Indian place was in like an Indian grocery store, so I'm not exactly sure of the name of it, but it was like 2 miles from the main strip, so it wasn't off the beaten path at all. And then we also tried a little chain restaurant called Kava that had like Mediterranean type food, like salads and Greek food. So really enjoyed all of those spots, and I would say don't feel like you have to go on the main strip and eat. The food is more expensive the closer you are to the water, so if you're going to those beachfront places, the wait is going to be extremely long and the food is mid, honestly. Like we had some food that was like, it all just felt mass produced. It didn't feel like nothing about it was special. So I will say that most of the food that we had close to the beach was just pretty average. Now, one thing that you really want to consider is you don't want to book a condo. This is my advice, but you don't want to book a condo that is really, really big, because if the condo is tall, all the people in the condo go to the front of it to go to the beach. So you have all those people in that tall condo pushing out to the front of a small beach area. Where if your condo is smaller, you still have people going out to the front, but it's not nearly as many people. So if you're staying in some of those high-rise condos, the thing that you have to deal with, you do get the amenities, but you just have massive crowds of people. I mean, personally, I don't want to look at somebody else. I want to look at the ocean. I don't want to hear someone else's speaker. I like my personal space. I like to have like my view be the ocean and not a bunch of people's kids playing or something like that. Or, you know, I'm just really like particular about my spot on the beach. And I know that, like, you know, if you don't have a private beach, you're not going to be able to like pick your exact spot. But for us, we thought that the little condo we booked was perfect because, I mean, it had, I think, 7 floors, which is not really little, but it's little in comparison to the places that have 20 or 30 floors. So if you want to have enough room in the front of the beach, I definitely recommend staying at a smaller, low-key place if you don't want to compete for that. And then you also won't have to compete for parking, because even if you book a condo, like our condo, they told us that like if there's not enough parking, you have to park across the street. It's really a hassle to park your car across the street because you have to cross through all of that traffic. And it's just, I mean, I know it's only 2 lanes, but like it's crazy. Just trust me on this. Don't forget to pack your beach toys and entertainment, whatever that may be. We brought definitely things to make a sandcastle, but we also brought a kite. And I was skeptical that the kite would work because it was just a little kite from Amazon, but that thing got up there. We wound up flying that kite like for half the day, really, and it stayed in the sky without much management. But at one point we lost it from our chair and it flew off into the wind, and we had like 3 dads chasing it down the beach. I've never seen dads move so quickly, and like Daniel was chasing it, all these dads were following him. It was great. So highly recommend a kite. It's super fun and entertaining. Everybody who walks past like wants to look at it, so it is something that's fun. And then we also built like a little sandcastle thing around us. So we had I got these little toys from the Dollar Tree, and it was just supposed to be a small project, but I can never seem to take on a small project. So I was like, let's build a fortress around our chairs. So we spent like 2 hours that morning building a little fort around our chairs. We had this little duck that we put on the front of it, and that was kind of like our little area for the day. And I think that we both got a kick out of that. It felt like we could be kids again, and it was just fun to have something to play with. So don't forget to bring your entertainment. Now, if you are one of those people who can just lay there and relax, I am very happy for you, but I'm not. I need something to do. I need an activity. I need to either be able to swim or, you know, have something going on. So I would definitely recommend that you do that, and then bring your snacks. Don't ever forget your snacks. That should just be like the title of the video. Don't forget to bring your snacks, because there is no way that you're going to sit out there for more than 2 hours and not want something to munch on. So don't forget to bring your snacks. I would say I'm going to close out the video by saying don't forget to try something new where you go on vacation. PCB has a lot of things that are off the beaten path, and if you go off of the main strip, you'll find plenty of other things to do. I will say that, you know, touristy things can be fun, but it tends to be repetitive. So if you've gone on one beach vacation, it typically is the same kind of things to do from one beach to the next, but they definitely had some stuff that was interesting, some nature preserves, some state parks, and some things that were within a 30-minute to 1 hour drive that I think could definitely be worth looking into. And I would also say don't worry about, you know, trying food and not liking it. This is the time to like get out there and try something that you're interested in. I mean, for me, we tried that Indian place and it was so hot. I got medium spice, but it was hot for white people. I'll just say that. Like Daniel, he could handle it, but I could not. So, but it was fun. I mean, it was interesting to try a different culture's food, and I love Indian food, but that place really had their spice level going. It was hot. After a week in PCB, I can say that we did not have a bad time. We made the best of it, but I don't know if I'll be returning to this beach in the future. It's a little crowded and a little rowdy for our taste. I think that we like things a bit calmer, a bit less of a party environment, and I typically want to relax on vacation. I don't want to be on edge. I don't want to have to be looking around me and making sure the car is locked. So I don't think that we'll be back to PCB, but I do think that PCB is fun, and of course, going to the beach, you're going to meet all types of different people, different travelers coming from all over the United States and all over the southern states. So, you know, just make the best out of it, and you can definitely have a good time in PCB. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.
Nice.